Hey guys, it's Kurt from Worsey Club USA. Last video we left you with 2 instrument banks, and we were using again larger samples, and certainly you've heard me talk enough about running out of memory. So what I wanted to do this time around is show you that we're going to go with 4 instrument banks using smaller samples on Kontakt, so you can get an idea of what that looks like, and then it can actually be done. So let's take a look. And what you'll see here is our good old friend Kontakt again. But what's different is, if you look, we've got some different samples in here. And those come from this factory selection that I've mentioned before. Again, these are not samples that we plan to use, but it lets you fool around and try out things and get concepts of how things are going to work. So again, it's basically the same setup. Bank 1, MIDI channel 1. Remember the way the instrument numbers work again. To play this clavinet on the OAX side, we would actually send program change 0, which would get us program number 1, clavinet on MIDI channel 1. I know I keep mentioning that over and over and over, but I'm thinking folks will get confused why they're off. And again, they are off by 1, and it all boils down to starting your counting from 0 or counting from 1. Okay, we're beating that to death. So we've got MIDI channel 1, which is going to be upper 1. MIDI channel 2, and again it's got the same set of sounds in it, just like we did before. That's going to be upper 2. MIDI channel 5, which is lower 1. And then MIDI channel 3, which is going to be lower 2. One thing we probably should show you is how to switch Kontakt back and forth. So remember, we have a set of instrument banks with Hammersmith and Evolution Jazz and Evolution Steel guitars in it. And then we have this bank that you see right now with these other sounds in it, okay? So you can do a couple of different things here. Let's go ahead and close this. So notice up here, we've got 4 bank, and let's click this. So I've saved these as 2 different presets. Let's go ahead and load Kontakt 1 bank, and you'll notice if you see these names go by, that is our bigger samples that we showed you in an earlier video. This one takes a little bit longer to load, that's expected, but now when we go into Kontakt, notice we've got Hammersmith and all those different sounds we showed you the other day. The other thing to notice is, see this little yellow icon here? It is still loading these samples in the background, even though we can start messing around. And if you notice, we're getting up here close to, we're at 1.8 and almost 1.9 gig of memory, right? And that becomes our challenge, loading these multiple times. So the point here is I can set up a preset on OAX that'll load either what I'm calling 1 bank, or let's go back over here, and this time let's load 4 bank, right? And notice it goes quite a bit quicker because again they're smaller samples. And this is the one that we're working with right now to show you upper 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so what we'll do here in a second, let me just show you this. And now notice that we've got 4 banks loaded like I showed you earlier. What we'll do now is run down the organ and kind of demonstrate that this all works. Be right back. All right, let's try some of this live at the organ to see what happens. We did go ahead and set up a jazz organ. Okay, so Hammersmith is no longer loaded, remember, because we changed our instrument banks. So let's go to user sound, and what do we have there? We had a jazz organ. I don't know, we'll add clavinet, which probably won't sound all that good, but let's add it anyway. Oops, sorry. Let me try that again. User sounds, K clavinet. right, so we got an organ and a clavinet. Let's go down here, and same thing. Let's bring up the user sounds. We'll swipe over. What about an E-piano? Let's try that and see if that works. Sure enough, it does. And just to push my luck, see what happens. Let's go here. We'll swipe over again, and I don't know even what Persian is. It's one of the samples that, you know, was in that free set. Let's see what that sounds like. Oops, let's turn off that. Some kind of a flute, breathy flute sound. So there we've got piano, Persian, organ, clavinet. So, upper one, MIDI channel 1, going to instrument bank 1 on Kontakt. Upper 2, MIDI channel 2, going to instrument bank 2 on the Kontakt. Lower 1, MIDI channel 5, going to bank 3 in the Kontakt. And then lower 2, MIDI channel 3. Did I say it backwards again? I always get these back. This one's 5, this one's 3. Playing on bank 4 of the Kontakt. So rewind one more time. That's the configuration we believe we want, except we are going to use, again, the bigger, higher end samples. Let's do a final review and wrap this up. So you're going to be about as dangerous as we are at this point. We showed you a couple of things, how we could have a 4-bank or a 1-bank. For that matter, you could have 2 or 3 banks, right? But we did show you a little bit about having different configurations set up and controlling that from an OAX preset, right? So you could have as many of these as you would like, and based on which one you pick, that'll load whatever samples you're interested in using. At the same time, we also showed you, if we double click on this sound, under the routing tab, how you can pick the program change value so that it picks the right sound in your instrument bank. And of course, you guys already know how to create user presets, right? But once you've picked your sounds, right? Let's go here again, user VST sounds, right? So you could go pick whatever sounds you want. Let me just change to that one for the fun of it. I could now save that as a user preset, and away I would go, having those sounds along with, you could certainly mix and match OAX sounds in here at the same time. All right, so again, we're going to wrap up the Kontakt discussion for a while, and maybe we'll come back and look at either the VB3 or one of the other drawbars. I forgot the name of the other one, but there were a lot of discussions about drawbar sounds, so maybe we'll fool around with some of those and see what we can learn. As always, thanks for watching.